right, ladies and gents, welcome in. Welcome in. We understand today is that good old day where they've got folks thinking that this is the time to help the current society keep on chugging along by putting you in debt. But welcome into another episode of A Different View. Couple of things here on this one, because this is actually a little bit of a milestone episode. In keeping up with the pace of things, because again, I told you guys before I like to keep up with the pace of what's going on. Both me, excuse me, both me, myself internally, and of course externally, what goes on around me. Which again, this is stuff I really believe. So it comes back to that thought process. Exactly what do you believe? I see that we have finally on Spotify for podcasters and for those, because the train folks, I want to be clear. I think there is a lot that is on my heart in very many topics. I am finding out a lot of information as we go along here on stuff that I've already known. From my own personal studies of history, of the Bible, of life. So this is going to get real interesting, folks, because again, as I continue to learn and to grow, I've come to the true realization that you must pass on what you have learned. And this is going to be my platform in doing so. Again, as other things are brought to me to do, we will do it. But this is that platform. So thank you guys for tuning in. We are past 100 views. Excuse me. And I say that because, right, podcasters make things all over the world, right? So this is the clear example. Man, oh man. Some of this stuff, y'all, and we're going to get into it when I start talking about the movie Wish, which if y'all have not gone to see that movie over the holidays, or over this holiday, I should say, because again, you've heard me talk about it on the Thanksgiving episode. I'm not going to go too long into it because that one I went fairly long on it. For those who hung in, thank you. For those who didn't, I understand. And for those, for everybody in the middle who hasn't or whatever, please give it a listen. And it's not for views, it's for obtaining some knowledge here on things you may have not realized. Because I tell you now, going back over and just restudying certain things, there were a lot I did not realize. So, again, we got to realize, are we promoting our best interest? So when they talk about selfishness, right? Everybody talks about how, and we'll tie in a lot of this. I know I hop from thing to thing, so bear with me, y'all. And this one's going off the cuff. I got no notes on this one. This is from memory here. So we'll see how good it looks. At the end of the day, you got to realize, and this was an earlier episode that I did when I first started doing this podcast, your profit and someone else's profit at the end of the day has got to go half and half. I don't know how else to say in that. So when you're using your credit card to go and buy in this mess, Lord, oh man, and can we be honest for a second here? Because we're gonna get into, again, as we get closer to Valentine's Day, we're gonna ramp up the relationship talk. So we're gonna just say this right out from the gate. If you got a family here that is a little bit, see, again, we said, do not think more highly of yourself than you ought to think, right? This is coming from the Creator, a charge to humanity. Another thing, I'm not going to key in. You guys are probably going to want me to key in on certain verses here. A lot of the stuff that's been used has thrown off people off track, including me. I'm good on those verses. Now, when we use them to bring light and clarity to what is truly going on behind the scenes, yes, you'll hear me use some of them verses. So if you guys haven't, and this is just a note, I haven't gotten any feedback on it, but that's just a side note there. Because there are a lot of verses that everybody likes going to, and I've heard them, and I'm good. because there's so many others that we're seeing here that are not talked about that need mention. So we'll start there first and double back. You got to realize your profit and their profit has got to equal total profit. So it's got to be coming back to you in a certain sense. And if you got a family there that's real materialistic, okay, there's nothing wrong with getting gifts. I don't know how many different ways I can say this. There's nothing wrong with getting gifts. There's nothing wrong. So like when we talk about ministers getting paid and people getting paid for the good work they're doing in the planet, nothing wrong with it. But when you go too far, guess what? You're gone too far. So at the end of the day, we got to watch out for how far we take materialism. The idea of and we'll get into it Christmas, the idea of might as well just put this up as a banner title now. The idea of the holiday is to be involved in giving, not materialism. They're two totally different things. All of the 3 holy holidays here at the end of the year, which is very true, deal with recognition, which is a form of giving. And in the case of Halloween, it's a not always as physical, although you can do physical things to show remembrance and give back remembrance, I should say, to those who have given to you, who have passed on from this life. Thanksgiving, although they turned that mess into whatever they turned it into, they twist it. See, again, a lot of these things, folks, come to the conclusions that they're twisting holy notions here to be able to rob and take from people. I understand they're not going to say it that way. I understand they're going to lash back out at people who do say it that way. Because, again, if you don't, then the cat's out the bag. And then you can't take from anybody anymore because now the facade's over. It's kind of like, and I haven't seen this new Hunger Game movie yet, but it's kind of like the Hunger Games movie. So the penalty for rebelling against people doing you wrong is to put you in an arena where you go and kill yourselves. I wonder where in life we watch that. Oh, wait, that's every day you wake up and go out your door. And in some cases, when you speak on Cain and Abel, it's right in your house. So people gotta, folks, stay woke, folks. Let me say it, man. Let me say it to people so that they can get in the cycle. Stay woke, folks. See this garbage going on around you clear as day. And we'll get into this movie Wish here in a minute, because what an impactful movie that was. I went to go see it yesterday with the wife. Very, very, very good movie. Gotta get to certain conclusions, folks, about how things are designed to hurt you and how you must separate to recreate. I don't even know how else to say it. You got folks around you solely on what you're giving me. It's a little bit much. Because again, the idea, and especially with selfishness, because this is what I was touching on before. If selfish is a thing and profit thereby, then you will profit more the more people you help. So let's say it this way. If you really could care less about helping people, the more people you keep helping, it feeds into the society in which you live, by which you would then profit from. The stronger the people, the stronger your profit. See, and again, this is how you, this is the litmus test, folks, for how you can see how people really do truly think. Because at the end of the day, they got it backwards. They think the more people that you X out the game, right, the more profit would be for them. But it couldn't be if you're living on a planet full of people, because now the profit that they would see, they're not looking into the fact of what is to come by you promoting and giving opportunity from said person that you're taking it from. They don't see the exponential profit that they could get from that. Because if they did, guess what? You'd be seeing them opportunities fly around like flapjacks. But they don't believe it. Because either they've been taken and twisted from their own notions in their mind, or from what someone else has told them. Somewhat of a combination of both in many of these cases. Most corrupt governments of the world have started off with a combination of a lot of it, whether they've used holy texts, twisted holy texts. That includes the Bible, where it made sense going around conquering people and hurting people in the name of good. Gotta say it a certain way, folks, because as hurtful as it is, as dear as I hold certain things. We're talking about you got to twist. It doesn't make good evil, but you got to twist holy things and make them something else than what they are in order to use that newly created thing. Lord, I hope somebody's hearing what I'm saying. You got to twist it in order to make it something else. And then use that new weapon to hurt someone. This is how the game works. And you got people out there, folks, that are trying to see again, I re-reference that whole ark story. See, again, a lot of the things in the Bible, story, allegory, not saying that they didn't actually happen, okay? Again, we come back to what do you believe? But we're talking about the truth that is clearly there to pull from, okay? And in this case, because again, I know how people are, there are a lot of defenses, a lot of defenses. Oh, wait, what do you mean? You mean it didn't happen? See, again, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about the truth of a story here. We're talking about the truth of something here that we can pull from anything. See, a lot of things in life people have been taught to discredit. Again, based out of a greedy mindset, you got to discredit something in order to take away its importance, thereby taking it. And when you're dealing with greed, that's exactly what greed will do every time, without fail. Might take people who operate in greed 10, 15, 20, 100, 125 thousands of years, don't matter. But anytime you can discredit, you then set a precedent to take. Because the person that is distasteful or discrediting does not belong to them. That is the mental thought process. So, with that said, materialism's a little bit much. So before you go out, again, you got to realize they know you ain't going for the stuff. See, they time in on people not knowing about finances, not knowing about cars, not knowing about how to buy them, not knowing how to buy houses. Because they done mess with knowledge this whole time, folks. Again, just use. If you can do it to one group of people, you can do it to them all. Go and look. And it's the same way they look at hillbillies. See, before white people get on their high horse here, because they're the people that they use to do this mess. Same thing with Arabs, too, by the way, or those of Middle Eastern descent. I like saying it that way. Because, again, we put names on names, and some of these people actually not name these names. That's what someone else named them. So I always like going backwards a little bit and leaving some leeway for a new name to come out. So I won't say Africans. I'll say African descent. You may have some ties or AKA come from something dealing with Africa, not actually be African per se, which all have certain similar traits. One of them's dark skin, your hair, how your nose looks, how your mouth looks. All little distinctions in certain texts and documents throughout human history that they try to disprove constantly and tell you they're a hoax. You got to do that to keep the cat from coming out the bag, folks. But I think there's so much wrong and so much evil and so much sin that has happened. It's hard to do it now. And that's when they go and start hitting the self-eject button. That's where you start seeing people coming in bombing houses, like you saw in Philadelphia, like you've seen in Tulsa. Again, go look it right up on your phone. And everybody's got a whole load of defenses lined up for why this, that, and the other. Again, when the heat gets too hot in the kitchen, they hop out. And when they hop out, it don't look nice. So we'll take it. Well, this is a good segue to hop right into the movie Wish. Again, real good movie. Take your kids to go see. Again, the youth need to understand what the old folk been doing so that somebody can help out here. Because, Lord, the older, and when I say older, I'm not even going to throw 30-year-olds into this because they're kind of caught in a conundrum a little bit. They're caught in a little bit of a conundrum. because they're young enough to not remember a lot of the stuff and old enough to remember at least the stuff going on around them now. So they're like when you hit 20s and 30s and stuff, although they're the ones learning the knowledge. But you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, especially when you hit 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. Lord, these people, man. And there's help here, y'all. See, for anyone older who is listening to this podcast, I want you to understand your importance. Now, the system and society in which we live in is telling you opposite, but you have an importance. However, in using said power of importance, understand the damage that you were brought from, and before you become the vessel passing on more confusion. Unlearn. Yoda said it so well, and I finally get to say it on this podcast instead of just typing it on my Facebook page and stuff like that. Unlearn what you have learned. Biblically, it said renew your mind. You cannot pass on properly until you've gone through the process of at least untying the knot to your shoe and retying it again, so that at least you know what you was doing. It's the same dilemma a soldier goes through. You're taking orders, and it's cool to take orders, and they will tell you it protects your brother in arm or sister in arm, your other partner of war here. You'll protect their life, and in many cases it is true, but a lot of that stuff is not needed. And any soldier who's telling you honestly and truthfully is telling you the truth. Much is the same with life, folks. You've got a lot of stuff there that's not needed. It was never needed. And then again, we're going to get into it on Valentine's Day. Keeping the racists from marrying each other was wrong, folks. You need the mixing as much as you need same cultural relationships. You need both, not one or the other. You need diversity in your finances. I'm no financial advisor, but the more that I keep learning from what I've already learned, it is the truth. You need to save your money. Stop spending it so much, which is why this little cute old holiday after the holiday. Hold your society accountable. Hold your government accountable. Hold the financial system accountable. It's your money. It's your tax dollar. And it should be spent correctly. Or don't use my tax dollar. See what I'm saying? So you're telling me we wait till Black Friday to give deals they can be giving you, should be giving you all year. You know there's no way they can keep things at regular price the way it is. Again, the way they're running this thing, they're pushing it to its end, to a climax that is destruction. They know it. They're just trying to get as much as I'm using this word "they" here, being vague on purpose. Sometimes folks got to start filling in the blanks, man. Oh, wow. And by they, I'm not, y'all's already seen me break it down. I'm not talking Democratic. I'm not talking Republican. None of that. It's all wrong, folks. And many times the people who stand up and say something to be the first ones to discredit. And then you know what? We wear these stripes as badges of honor. That you at least stood up and said something. They discredited Chicken Little. Guess what? There was some real problems going on. I'm talking about that movie specifically. You had some real stuff going on. You had Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. You discredit the nerdy, goofy-looking person. You look again. Again, this is coming from the Bible now. What is the dumb and the weak is used by the Creator. Pay attention to this stuff. It's real serious. It's real serious. People are meant to share this down here. When the sharing goes out the window, that's when the thing goes sideways. You get into this movie Wish, and you got that king that we all see. I think his name is Magnifico. Okay. Kind of cool when you do a little study about where the place is. They call it Rosas, which looks like they are, from one little thing that I saw, it looks like they're mimicking Italy. Which again, when you look to the Mediterranean, that's another thing. Can folks start to do a little bit, just a little study, just a little bit of study. We ain't talking about you becoming a scholar and nothing. Ain't got to do all that. Nobody got to do it. If you so choose, of course. Again, you've been given a choice to choose. Just look at it a little bit. Look at the Mediterranean. Look at the area. Look at the stuff that goes on with the Bible here. Again, while all of it may not match, because this will be the first thing people tell you, while all of it don't match and this, that, and the other, again, you are left like a million clues here. And again, I think if God can provide for the birds, God can provide for us, man. If God can provide for the birds physically, God can provide for the great creator, can provide for all from a mental perspective as well. It's time to start eating the crumbs here, folks. It's time to start picking up the food that's left for us here. Look to the Mediterranean. Look to all this area. It's part of Africa. It's part of Europe. It's part of the Middle East. Look further. Look deeper. Deep calling deep. That's another phrase, another verse in the Bible. That, like, again, Peter being called out on the water. Go deeper. And it's cool. See again, I heard a thing, so it doesn't come from me, but I heard a thing, and I'm gonna use it because it's necessary. It's something that can be used on any podcast like this, including mine. You got a lot of he search, you got a lot of she search. You don't have no research though. A lot of people leaning on what someone else told them, and what someone else tells you ain't enough when it comes to your life. You better make sure that thing matches 4,100,000% before you go signing off. Yep, that's it. Like everybody thinking in black folks, the skin on their body is a curse. You have lost your ever-loving mind. If the Creator made all nations, this is biblical stuff. If the creation is made, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe just the everybody was somebody's. No, if it was everybody, it's everybody. And see, a lot of this mentality seeps through in how folks deal with each other, because you automatically start looking at somebody bad. You know why? Because you were taught to look at them bad. Do you know why? Because they were taught to look at them bad, because somewhere down the line, all the way at the beginning, they were portrayed wrongly as bad when they weren't. That something was given to them as a curse. They twisted truth. And it's not true. You got your various shades. See, again, instead of looking at certain things, start combining things together. Look at anthropological study. Start finding out, where did all this come from? You got the tools. It's all down here. We can piece it together. Because again, you can listen and learn from other people. If time truly is short, folks, then it's time to pick up the pace a little bit. You got a king there with this kingdom at this time. Something horrible happens. Doesn't want it happening. And again, I'm not going to spoil it too much. Okay. But this dude's got power over the wishes of the people, which the people give to the king willfully. You see what I'm saying? See, you got to buy into something. They can't just take from you because you got the power in you. Given to you, but you got the power in you. So when you hear the song from B.O.B. called Magic, you might as well get your happy dance on, because it's true. You got magic in you. There is power in. Study the word magic. See, before people start going real silly, study the word magic. You have power in you, given to you. Ability is another word that's used for it. Responsibility with abilities, folks. That's where we're at now. That's where we've always been, and it's where we're at, and it's coming to light today. Instead, everybody down in sex, it's time to start teaching sexual responsibility. And that's not with the negation of sex. It is with the responsibility. Same thing with your money and your finances. It's responsibility. And you know what? Chasing after these stupid sales they put on one day or one weekend out of 365 is nuts. You want to take a stand against this kind of stuff? Stop spending money necessarily at 4, 5, 6 in the morning whenever they do these silly sales. Got their workers working their butt off when they could be home, sleeping off the food coma they put themselves in the night before, because you need rest to give your body a chance to at least digest some of that overeating you did. And I am not, see again, another one of the defenses, you're bashing me. So you see, again, nobody's bashing anybody because we're all susceptible to this, including me. We ain't talking about that. Again, we're talking about responsibility here with the ability to eat or buy things or have sex or learn stuff, whatever. We got a lot of ability we've been given. Whole series of events happens throughout that movie. A lot of trust and distrust, which again, a lot of lightheartedness in that movie. It was an homage to Disney, which is nice because a lot of good Disney movies have come out over the years, folks. If we look back in time, even if you take out this whole thing with Walt Disney and Steamboat Willie and all, I'm sorry, folks. But see, again, you can take the most purest thing and put some real unholy stuff to it. And that unholy stuff you can't rep. See, if you want help, you can't, nope, ain't good. But we can go, we can rock with the rest of it, though. Again, to each person their own. To each person their own. But when you can't. You hurt your own interest in doing so. You see what I'm saying? You hurt your own interest in can't do it. It doesn't help. It's not helping the scenario. Feeding into the status quo, it's not doing it. And I will leave it up to folks to go looking up what the origin there with Steamboat Willie was about. So, at the end of the day, the movie was really, really, really good. It teaches the ills of humanity, how it happens, the gaslighting. Lord, the gaslighting. People thinking they're doing such a good. You know what? Why they just don't understand? You know, like again, when they talk about deception is real, man. Now, some people putting on the front. Don't get me wrong. When they say slide like a fox, they mean that. And only time, so you got to be patient. The Bible talks another verse where oppression, it's not Sunday message, but we're just going back and forth here a little bit because these things bear mention. Again, repetition is necessary for what? For learning. Oppression makes a person mad, but to the person who is patient, folks got to get better at being patient. And everybody say, I know you don't understand. I'm not really a patient person and blah, 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 blah. You go to that job every day, though. Again, look up the word patience and it'll start. Man, you go to that job every day, waiting for that big old payday. Seems like you're showing a level of patience there. Didn't even know it. Did you? But I know someone who does, and that's these corrupt owners of every company on this planet. They have seen the gifts. The problem is because of deception and blinding, the people who own the gifts not seeing it. You know how you start seeing the gifts in you? When you separate. You got to come away from your mind, in your mind, I should say. Maybe some people need to come away from their mind as far as how it's been programmed to this mess, but I digress. You need to come away from the mental sickness that is there that is called insanity, where you keep doing similar stuff, wanting different results. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And the more you separate and come away, the easier it becomes. Then you start to be able to make a plan. See? Again, without vision, the people perish. That's another one. Well, I always talk about Hosea 4, but there's that other verse. Without vision, the people perish. You have got to know what your vision is. So when everybody makes fun of vision boards and all that kind of thing, start taking time to know thyself. This is for the most basic person, or people who call themselves basic. You are created. And let me stop for a second just to say this as encouragement. You have been made with purpose. You are not purposeless. Maybe this will help another person from offing themselves. Another one of those things that people are so horrible about, which is suicide. Because you don't understand. You've been taught something else and you're not seeing the full picture. Again, you're speaking on Christians. Friend. Be a friend. If God is to you, then you so much more so should be toward others. You have purpose. And while going through sadness and fighting through depression and fighting through this sick, gross, evil-filled, stench-filled, it's almost like a smell sometimes. You can smell it, how gross it is. How selfish people are. Flailing aimlessly all over the place, hurting each other, running each other over in the street. All types of wackiness. You want to talk about imaginations of wickedness. The Bible alludes to stuff like that. People got all kind of weird ways they come up with something else stupid to do to each other. Side note, while I'm talking about that, change just to change things is not changing nothing. You make more problems. Again, changing something where it's necessary. That's something different. And life is full of that. But these ideas where you got the thing going, you have a problem with the fact that you got to pay workers and you got to pay insurance and stuff. So what you do, ooh, hey, I know how to help everybody. Let's switch out the cashiers for self-checkout. Now notice something here. Not enough people stood up against that. And now all of a sudden you don't really have that many cashiers. Heck, now you don't even have enough people or cashiers to cashier the self-cashier. Like when the receipt paper go out, we all know, we've been in Walmart and Target, we know. Again, if you ain't fronting, you're going to tell the truth. Again, no owner is profiting without the profit from the worker. You got a basis to stand on, folks. Again, you must do it together. It cannot be this one and twosies thing. It's not, again, they didn't take everything from everybody going in ones and twosies. That was whole groups of people, man. Whole groups. And it's going to take whole groups of people to bring a level of balance the other way. And it don't have to be violent. I want to repeat it over and over and over again, because repetition is necessary for learning. When we come away from this mess, it gets better. It gets better. We all can function together, but you go look over human history. Go look at it. Look all the way back to the emperors in Asia. I don't care where you look. I don't care where you look. When people function together, the thing is cool. When people start getting greedy, that's where it goes sideways. It happens every time. So when folks talk about changing and how horrible this world is and the youth and all that, go back into the things where the changes are necessary. Go back and see where the changes are needed, I should say, or AKA where the changes are necessary. So when you're talking in society, if you're worried about where the youth are going, that means older people need to start getting involved. And guess what? You can't get involved with the youth on some, I like using because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and yeah, I'm saying it on the air, and yeah, I'm putting it out there, and it don't matter because that's who I am. And I understand the word for those of my black brothers and sisters, those of self-consciousness, understanding. We're going to put this knowledge out here a little bit. We understand that the word cowboy, and for those that might be Southern that understand, or Midwestern, whatever, y'all understand that word boy, okay? Used disrespectfully to talk about those, again, it's right on your phone. It's right. You go into it. You matter of fact, go to the source of which it is sourced and then go get the book that they reference and read it. It doesn't matter. It's right there. Okay. Cowhands was what everybody was called back in the frontier days. And sure enough, them racist Europeans coming along, making fun of folks on some mean girl mess, like y'all heard me say. Hey, boy, that's where that's where cowboy came from. It's tough, isn't it? When you start realizing a lot of this stuff that we've been saying today, crazy. Just like discrediting count. Now, some of this is bleeding over in the February here, but we're going to go with it anyway, because like I said, I got more. Cowboy is wild. A reminder as to what's going on here. So, it takes people to see outside the box to help give a better view. It just does. It just does. On every one of these topics. Love, money, clothes, what people wear and stuff like that. All that kind of stuff. Don't matter. It don't matter. I'll bring this to light because it's another one that gets on people's minds. So be it when you're talking about nudity. Again, in the creation of humans, you don't see a problem, do you? And we're not talking about, the glory of God was their covering. No, see, again, they weren't ashamed. It wasn't because they couldn't see it. It's because they weren't ashamed of it. You see what I'm saying? Difference. Sure enough, as they go breaking rules now, all of a sudden now you ashamed about it. I wonder why. Ain't because the nudity was wrong. You were ashamed at the wrong you did by just not listening to what you were told to do and the reverberating effect of doing it. Ain't nothing wrong with going around being nude. The problem is people have a problem seeing you nude. That's the problem. And all you need to do is go to a nudist colony. I'm just dropping some knowledge on y'all. Y'all, you can take it or leave it. It don't matter. This thing with commando, all that kind of stuff. See, again, the reason you got issues is because people dirty, man. People dirty. All you got to do is go to the bathroom and see. You got go to a public bathroom with some of these people and see what it is. These folks don't wash their hands after they just finished doing number 2. And we'll try to keep the colorful language down a little bit. They just finished getting up out of that stall and here they are and they're going to leave, then shake your hand afterward. No, I'm good. We'll wave you hello from a distance. Oh boy. No. There is a reason why you see a lot of the stuff you see, because again, people have lost responsibility with their abilities. And before people going around telling you how wrong something is, re-look at what they're talking about. I'm just saying. It's the same thing with alcohol and a lot of other things. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You got the wheat growing up out the ground. The processes by which to do things aren't chemical, they're not like man-made, synthetically done. They're natural processes in the earth. Fermentation's a natural one. That's for wine that we're talking about. Come on now, folks. Again, use what God has given us here is a beautiful thing. That mind, when they do that with the NAACP and all this back in the day with the war on drugs and not getting addicted to crack cocaine, again, another one of those things that grow out the ground. But again, when you got people in an environment where all they see is death and destruction and wasteland, guess what they're going to get addicted to real quick? Something to get them up out of it. Lord, I'm telling you how you use things of a holy source and twist it so that you can take. No, it's good Christmas is coming around, folks. It's good. We need these times of remembrance. See, again, what that talk about in Ecclesiastes is real. We need times of remembrance. So, again, that movie Wish is really good, folks. Get into it. Again, take your kids to see it. It's good. It's unifying. It's unifying. Understand that with the differences they keep talking about with folks now, again, when we talk on differences, cultural differences, all these kinds of things, gender differences, see, again, it's not to negate the other one. It is to respect the other person's difference. Understand that women, which we'll get into on Mother's Day, they are the life givers. Now, I am not negating man's part in this, but we're talking about from the anatomy. And again, we're not speaking against it. See, specific speech, general speech, or collective speech, two totally different things here. So I'm not negating one talking about the other. But for people, that's another one of them little things that they do here with words and language. You try to twist. I am not negating one for the other. I never do that. But again, we're talking about the physiology of a woman. That birth is coming through that vaginal canal, folks. Okay? Yeah, and then it's not the last. Again, all the other stuff aside, that's the way. It's happening. Just to rob a little bit of a song there. So there's a certain level of respect that's there. And it's no wonder when you see certain things like with Adam and Eve, how right there in the beginning, the seeds of dissension are put in place. No, it's because of the woman you gave me. See, men, just like bosses, wrongly take away from the respect that is due toward those that are there, of which they are partners with. And we're going to get into that further in Valentine's Day, because it is so necessary to understand. Get away from possession and this hierarchical mess and understand the team effort. Because when you do, you unlock power you haven't seen before in your relationship, but you can't do it thinking you the head all the time. But you can do it when you realize you need help. And that's what God was talking about in Genesis. People need help. Same thing for women. And I'm not a woman to totally speak on it, but it is the truth. People need help. You ain't getting through the game on your own. Anybody you see full on introverted, and this is not against people who are introverted or extroverted, because again, you can go sideways both ways. Nothing wrong with who you are, but understand that you can add layers to yourself. Healthy layers to yourself to make you an even better person. Jesus came away from the crowds. You got to. There is nothing wrong with being introverted, but there is something wrong with being extrally introverted. There's a difference. Same thing with people that they call it, and again, that's why I get away from these words, social butterfly. There ain't nothing wrong with you being extroverted, as the word goes, but there is something when you are too extroverted, when you are extrally extroverted. Balance is what we're after here, folks. Balance. So that is what I got for today. That's what I got for today. Again, I hope everybody is having a good Thanksgiving weekend, because it is truly a time of giving thanks. Thankful for the food that we have, the family we have, a chance to make repairs for the wrongs that were done in the past, and bring some notoriety to those of which it was taken away from, physically and non-physically, and keep moving forward together as a society. So that's what I got, y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. And as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.